Good morning, everyone. Let's program a little bit. So what we're building today is we're working on HTTP server stuff again, but this time C++. Yikes. And I already recorded a little bit, but I realized that I was basically just going off on a rant here. Essentially, there's this library called cpp-httplib, and it's got 16,000 stars on GitHub, and it's very popular. I've used it, and I didn't like it, okay? No shade at this guy. He's done a great job. But if you write an entire HTTP server from scratch, and the code is like, it's a header file that's like 21,000 lines, I've ran into so many little issues that, I mean, they were specific to the shit that I was doing. And I can't really say that they were a fault of the library, but it was just really hard. Like I tried to report bugs and it didn't really work. They weren't really accepted. I think I reported, actually, I think it was only one bug where I was like, yo, this looks wrong or whatever. But basically I was serving massive files with this and it simply didn't work well. Not a problem. Anyway, this is a fine library. If you want an HTTP server for C++, you use this. This is easy to use. It's got, I think, all the multi-threading is automatic. I don't know. It's fantastic. However, this is not what I need. I need something else. I need something that builds on top of Boost Beast. And so Boost Beast, I need to let my cat out really quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, I let the cat out. All right, so basically it's a HTTP and WebSocket library that is Boost-like. So it's very, imagine the most complicated possible way to build a C++ HTTP library. It's this. They've somehow made it worse. Okay, I guess this doesn't exist, but it's not simple to use. It's not easy to use. I'm going to be real with you. It isn't easy to use, but it's very powerful. And I mean, there's like simple HTTP client, and it's like, what? Like, I get it, right? You're doing you have to set up an IO context. You have to set up like, you do resolvers, you do streams, you do all this shit, right? And it makes sense. I get it. However, what? No. And then for servers, it's even more silly. Let me find synchronous HTTP server. So somehow, first of all, it doesn't come with MIME type stuff. I don't know why, but this is a lot. Like, I get why it's built like this and it makes sense, but the fact that you have to do like this sort of shit, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it as a sort of user-friendly, quick and easy thing. And that's not the point, right? The whole point of Boost Beast is to be an HTTP sort of library so that you can build something on top. And that's what we're doing. So that's what I've been doing for a while. I've been trying to build, or for 2 days, I've been trying to build a thing that does like invites. It doesn't really matter. It's just some garbage. But yeah, so like, you know, there's like an endpoint and you get some links back. Whatever. Who cares? It's not that important. The point is to make an API that's easy to use. And I've kind of got it. This is HTTP server that reacts to a /register endpoint with JSON. Okay. So I can actually show this. Let me split this and open the terminal. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Open the terminal here. And let's make this a little smaller. Blasphemy, I'm using my mouse. Okay. And we'll simply run it. And so now when I do this request where I go like /register and I do a post request with this JSON, I get back the same JSON because right now that's all it does, right? But this is neat, okay? This is neat because this is all the code that I had to write for this, and of course, JSON serialization shit, but that doesn't really matter. So you make an HTTP server, you give it a TCP endpoint, you say accept to accept a connection, and then you can start an exchange, okay? And right now it's one connection, one exchange and then you stop. And I've called it an exchange because I've kind of struggled to come up with a better word for like, I get a request and I respond to it, because that's kind of the model of like HTTP. You don't really ever just do like one directional communication. You don't just like, there's always a response, right? That's the whole point of HTTP. You have like a GET request and you have a 200 OK, and you have a POST request and you have a 200 OK. It's like always this back and forth. So I'm calling this an exchange. Happy to come up with better words for this. But basically, can I not expand what type this is? Yes, I can. So I'm just going to do this so it's a little bit easier to follow what's going on. So you get a connection. We then say start exchange, which gives us an exchange. You then can get the target and the method. I'm storing them in variables here because I'm going to use them a lot. But basically, you can get like, okay, what's the target of this request? What's the method of this request? And maybe exchange should simply be called request. But there's a method called request, so it's not really that easy. But basically, okay, and then if the method is post and the target is /register, we do exchange.ok, which says, okay, respond with okay, right? And it's a little weird now that I think about it that you just do exchange.ok, but you basically okay the exchange, right? Like what can we call this? This is basically a request, right? But it's not really a request. I'm not going to call it that. It's not a request in HTTP sense. But if you look at HTTP exchange, what? Who gives a shit? Okay, if you look at HTTP exchange, it's simply a connection reference. And I know this is bad. I have a fix me comment. That's one of the things we're going to fix today. And it stores the request. And so, but you can also respond on this, right? So that's the whole idea. And you respond with a to-response concept of some kind. It's just anything that converts to a response object. And then we just call this and we're done. And so we do exchange.ok, and then whatever we give in here has to return a response. So path register returns a JSON response, which implements to-response. As you can see, there's a to-response here, which is part of this concept. If you're not familiar with concepts, don't worry about it. It's like a trait in Rust, or it describes the shape of something without inheritance. And because we could do like response, right? We could like inherit, or I guess in C++ this would be public response. So it becomes a public interface. But the issue with this is that we do not want to allocate this shit on the heap every time, because HTTP can be fast, and I will show you that it can be fast. And doing inheritance in your response types is just a ridiculous way to solve the problem. So a response has a content type and a body for now. Okay, for now. We're going to add more stuff to it. And then JSON response is simply something that only has a JSON document. It doesn't need the content type because the content type is application JSON. And then, to response implements the conversion from the document, which just dumps it to a string, and the content type application JSON returns that, and we're good. And this works really well. As you've just seen, this works really well. The path register function gets a request, and it happens like this. So there's no automatic registration of like methods. So the same way that like in Golang you would have like mux, or in like you'd have like Express.js or whatever the fuck. I'm not building a router because I don't feel like it, okay? If you need a router, you build a router, okay? I don't know, if I feel it really difficult to build a router that like an HTTP router that does everything for everyone, right? Because either it is very, very, very fully featured, like with different variables and destructuring requests and all this shit, right? Or it's fast. And you don't have both. You can't have both, because you're gonna have like a regex of some kind. And I'm sure there's like boost regex that's faster than standard regex or whatever. But like, the point is, it's hard. Okay, it's really difficult to do this shit properly. And what I'm trying to do is build a behavioral abstraction, not a shape abstraction. So I'm not trying to abstract the shape of all these data types. That's why I'm using boost beast HTTP verb. and boost beast fucking HTTP request. These are not my types. These are boost beast types because they are fantastic. Like they give you so much stuff you could do on, like I could do like, whoops, did I just delete something? Yes. No, but like if, oh my God, if you have like your request, you can do all sorts of stuff on this. You can, God, dude, sometimes I'm struggling with my Vim setup. I don't know what it is. I think it differs between computers, how it behaves. Anyway, so you could set like keep alive, you could set chunked, like there's all these things that is really nice. There is, and of course for the response you can do the same thing, right? So it is really nice. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm wondering if this design makes sense with the response. But yeah, let me first explain what we're doing. So what we're doing, 11 minutes in, what we're doing is we are going to extract this into a library and we're going to make it nice. And we're going to add some features to it. But first, we're going to fix it a little bit. So I feel like now that I talk about it, this response thing isn't really that cool. And the reason I say that is because like it's not that cool because you need to. I'm basically this is going against what I just said. I said I'm abstracting behavior, but I'm abstracting shape here. So how about we get rid of this and we simply make this a HTTP response, HTTP string body, because surely that's what we actually want, right? So boost beast, is that enough? I don't know. And that's not enough. Same as, no, that's correct. That's correct. HTTP boost beast, HTTP. Oh, I need to fucking, I'm sorry, I need to have a using declaration. Using HTTP, what was it? Boost beast HTTP, something like that. Can I not do that? No type named HTTP. Oh, it's using namespace, isn't it? Is it this? Dude, I am struggling. What the fuck is it? My God. Oh, it's just all of these, I guess. That's annoying. And then we have in http.http we have these. This is what it is. Yeah, beast HTTP. Okay. I'm not very smart. Dude, I am so annoyed. Why is all my Vim shit not working? I swear to God, something's wrong here. Okay, anyway, namespace. Oh, I just did the alias wrong. Dude, I program in C# at work, C++, and Rust at home. It's all such a mishmash of different ways to do the same thing. It's ridiculous. Beast. HTTP. Okay. That should do it. Now I should be able to include these properly. This is forward string body and stuff like that. Okay, wonderful. So because this makes a lot more sense to me, and then now we can alias this if we want. We can use using response is this, and we can actually keep this the same. Oh, okay. And then I will make, I will steal from here, respond with status. This has to change, obviously, so it's going to be connection.respond. All of this has to change to actually take a response. So we will simply, we need a request version to do this, which is a little bit annoying. Request version. Why do we need a request version to do this? Ooh, I guess we could have toResponse take that as a parameter, because that's the only thing I think that we need to correctly do this, which is a unsigned. What? Okay, that's annoying. What? Who the fuck came up with making this an unsigned? Okay, let's just call this like response construction context or something that nobody will ever use. Because this is going to be completely like, maybe we can just put it in a namespace detail. Because this seems like something that we don't actually want anyone to use ever. Yes, correct. And then this is going to take the response construction context. Can I not do this? Expected blah. Can I not do that? Can I not require this? So this is plus concept. This, by the way, is why I don't record things that much or that often. Is because simply I will start doing something, and after like having started on a project where it's like it's going so smoothly, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice, I'm having so much fun, right? The second I start hitting recording, I run into fucking this shit, and it's like, hello, what? Can you not, please? Concept require function parameter. Because like, why do I even have to? Okay, just a moment. Slop page. Go away. Manufactured parameters using construction. What? 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 That's insane. Okay, anyway. So this is a what should we call this? We should call this something else. We should call this like a response context. That's fine. We can use that. That's a nice name. Detail response context. And then what this should implement is basically this entire thing. And so the idea would be that we provide a couple types, then you never have to worry about this. Oh my god, I can't. Okay, whatever. Response, HTTP string body. And the question you might be asking yourself right now is, wait, string body? That doesn't let me fucking send images. Yes, it does. Apparently, the way you're supposed to do it is to just use string body for everything. Yeah. Status. Yeah, so the status is actually a problem as well, because the status is not part of this either. So it should also be in here. So HTTP status status, because it's supposed to be this is CTX version. And then what we do next is we do response set HTTP field content type to content type, which is provided in its application JSON in this case. And we do response response body standard move. Well, actually we can't move, so whatever, we'll just do document dump. And then of course we do response prepare payload. And then we should be good. We can just return that. Return response. Because I think this solves the issue. This solves the issue of like having your own response objects that cleanly kind of automatically convert to this without having to over and over write this shit, because this shit is more complicated than just having types that encode that this is possible, right? But this also, of course, means that I now need to worry about this in every single place ever. For example, and I will simply vertically split this and do it here. Yeah. Because respond with status should not exist anymore. It should now be essentially connection respond. Yeah, it should be a connection respond, request response, or something like that. So it should be connection respond, request to response, and then we need to set up the context. So we say detail request context, sorry, respond context. And this is going to have version is going to be request version, and status is going to be HTTP status. Okay. Of course, this should be first, and connection respond doesn't work. Member access into incomplete type. Yeah, I don't care. We're simply gonna move that to later, I guess. So that we can do this. Expression result unused. Give it to this guy, close this, and that should solve this. And then if we go to, oh, okay. If we go here, we should have a respond method, which now no longer needs to do all of this shit. Instead, we just take the request and the response. Actually, we don't even need the request, I think. We don't need the request at all. So we just need the HTTP response, HTTP string body, and this is going to be the response. And the reason I'm kind of marshalling it back through is because I want to have this particular interface. I want to be able to do these things on these objects. That's kind of just something I would like to be able to do. And this actually cleans up the API quite a bit. Granted, you can no longer respond with this directly, which feels a little weird. So maybe we should be able to do that. Maybe we do. Maybe we make, maybe we put response here, and we make it generic, and then we give this the ability to also have two response, so that we don't need to do it until the very end. To response T response to response. And then this should give us the context as well. And then we can give that here. And I think this is not cleaner, definitely not cleaner than the other thing. But it lets us, we don't have to use the exchange thing. Which is a little weird, but I think it's just cleaner like this. I think it's much cleaner to be able to just have the to response API all the way through. And then we can implement this to in terms of basically saying respond with this comma that, And then respond itself is the one calling to response. Which seems right. I don't know. That feels right. That feels correct. Because like, that feels like a responsibility of the connection to resolve that. And I'm sure that we will eventually have things where the context needs to be added to by the response or something. So by the HTTP connection. So I think this is fine. Also, yes, we define a the structure, but we don't define the others. I know. All right. This makes this more complicated, which I don't love. But it shouldn't have touched any of the other code. Like, dude, is it that hard to just, yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, this should all still work, right? Because you get a request and JSON response and utility. There we go. Because surely this still works. Or I missed something. I don't think there's any other code using this. Let's see. Yep, still works. Okay, wonderful. So yeah, I guess the idea kind of is we say this to response T means that we can implement any kind of response, like not just JSON responses. And this keeps this API really, really, really simple without really introducing too much overhead anywhere, right? This doesn't introduce many indirections or abstractions or shit like that. Because again, to response is a really clean way to handle that, I think. Yeah. Yeah, this seems right. This seems right. What is a little odd though? What is a little odd is the fact that the response doesn't contain the error code or the status code. Um, that's a little fucked. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think the status code should be contained within the response. I mean, it is conceptually. And so doing exchange.ok would mean that there is some sort of way where this cannot be okay, which is definitely the case. Like, it's definitely possible. But I don't generally see this as the right API because it would mean that path register returns a response, but then you still have to worry about whether it failed or not, or if it needs to like communicate more information to the thing. So maybe the exchange thing is stupid. Maybe the exchange thing is stupid. I think the main like gain in this whole thing is the fact that you don't have to worry about all the how do I receive HTTP packets and how do I send them. I think that's the main abstraction I'm interested in here, and the fact that all the other shit is kind of still you have to understand how HTTP works is not a big deal. I think that's kind of nice because ultimately I'm doing this because I want something that I want to use. So, but ideally in here I will have like a, I don't know, like if something then I want to return like something else. I want to return like a JSON response that doesn't mean success. Yeah. Interesting. This is an interesting problem. I'll have to think about this because I think, okay, so another approach would be to have a generic response. So you say you say like response JSON path register like that. And this would give you the flexibility of sharing a response object that doesn't. So it's like a wrapper, right? It's like a layer of an onion where like you have another layer that just contains like you know, is this okay, and like all the other shit that you care about, like headers and stuff, and then JSON is just the type of the body. Um, this might be even better. I think I prefer that. I think I prefer that a lot. But yeah, let's commit this. Kind of just messing around at the moment anyway, so let's not go too crazy on the commits here. Let's just call this like cleanup. Yeah, call it the day. Because this is definitely in a pattern that I need, and I think this response JSON thing is much better. So I would like to, I'm gonna just like start using it before I wrote it, because I think that's fun. Also, sorry for using the mouse. I know that one guy will respond and go like, wait, you're using the mouse in Vim or whatever. So this would be a response JSON. But I don't want to define all of these. I don't want to, we could do like with status. And then this could be okay. This is not like HTTP status, whatever the internal server error is. I don't know. It's all not working right now because this fucking breaks the parser anyway. This feels a little more natural. So let's do that. So we go to response HPP, and we're simply going to start building that. Because then we also can get rid of some of the response context, like the status. Because I felt it was weird anyway to have the status in here. Let's leave it for now in there. But basically the idea would be to have struct response, and we're simply going to template this over T, class T, and this is a what do we call this, two body concept, and then we're going to do two body here. Two body requires that a const ta. Actually, no, so we're simply going to make it consuming. So because I'm tired of doing stupid shit. So to body, or maybe into body, into body. I don't really want this to take any arguments. I don't care. And then this should return a body, and then a struct body is simply going to be content type, content type, and then body content, because I just can't be fucking bothered. And this is into body, so we're gonna have T. Let's call this body T. This is body T body. So it's going to contain that. Okay, I see that. Oh, Kitty's here. Hold on one sec. I need to feed the kitty. Kitty hasn't eaten. She hasn't come home all morning, and it's already 12, so yeah, Kitty. She doesn't want to eat, I guess, but it's fine. She needs some cuddles. If you hear purring, that's the kitty. Okay, so 34 minutes in. Still don't really have anything, but it is what it is. Okay, response. so it doesn't like this because redefinition of response. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, because it's going to be this. Yes. Because we no longer want to do that. We now want to do this. And toResponse will now, let's call this like a full response or whatever. It's going to be full response. Okay. And so there's going to be a thing called JSON. And this is to body, into body is what this is, right? So gonna keep it the same, basically, instead that this is going to be a body into body. Can I do this? Does that work? Because I think that would be nice. I don't remember if this is how you do it, but I want that basically. I want it to be basically move out, owning, whatever. So this no longer exists. This is now going to be a return like this, content type, application JSON, and we're back to doing the exact same that we did before, but okay. I also feel like this should be called into response and have the same paradigm, but we will see. I'll simply put a fixed me. Into plus move out. And yeah, in this case, it's going to make whatever. I don't care. All right, so now we say same as body. So this returns body. That's good. And then we'll do another one called, I don't know, plain text. Or maybe we call it plain text. And this is going to be text. And then we do this. Standard string text. Text, standard move text. Now, this is a little weird. I hope this makes sense. I hope this isn't too annoying and weird, but the whole idea would be that I can have this one not be const and instead return like standard move the text in here, and then we don't need to copy it, which would be nice. Whatever, we'll figure it out. So okay, what else are we missing? So of course this no longer works because I wanted to have response with status and shit like that. So let's have stuff like this. Let's move that stuff out from where was it? HTTP, it's CPP, or maybe HTTP.hpp, I think it was, maybe. Yes, here this shit needs to go. Because it's now going to be, so it's going to be a static method called response, so with status, and we're basically going to give it HTTP status, and the type. So it's going to be body body status. And let's see. I don't think we need toResponse anymore. I think that ship has sailed. I think that ship has sailed. Yeah, I think all this like toResponse shit is not necessary. because everything will be a response, and we're templating over the body type because the response is always going to be the same. It's the HTTP response. So, and we can then later change the version, I think, right? So we can do raw response. Can I not do this? It's so strange how it just fucking dies. Oh, it's this. It's this. I don't like that all the autocomplete no longer works. So the second you have an error somewhere, it's just annoying, you know? Message. Can't I do a bunch of shit on this? Am I stupid? Yeah, there we go. Base. Can I set the version? Set the HP. Yeah, okay, so you can set the version. Whatever. Then we don't care on construction, really. We'll just set it later. Raw response, body, standard move, body, into body, raw response. And I mean, realistically, we will want to do this properly. So, oh, that's why I can't do it, because we're in a static method. I'm stupid. Okay, so response r.raw response.body. Raw response. So we should probably set this up with HTTP response. This should be somebody, right? So we should probably initialize it. And then we should probably do whatever we were doing before, which was what exactly? I forgot already. That's why I want to build this, you know, because I always like forget how to do this shit. Okay, we set the thing. So this will be our body type. So auto body into body. This is going to be body. And this is going to be into. Whoops, into. Come on. Okay, I think the kitty is eating. Yeah, body, and then we do body.content, and then r.raw response dot set http field content type is body content type. No, we don't want to do it yet. We want to do that later. So I'll prepare payload in case the later stages wants to add stuff, which they definitely do. I know that already. And then with status means that we can actually set this here. So do we have one that just has the status? Whatever. In that case, we're gonna set the status and the version. So status, and then the version is going to be is there no version? How do I get the version? Fuck. Whatever. So, does this ever do validation on this constructor, or does it just accept whatever as the version? I'm just trying to figure out if I'm allowed to set this to something invalid. Because like surely not. But. See, but this also doesn't really specify that, so I'm really curious how to deal with this. But this is one of those abstractions where like I don't understand why they would give that here. Why that wouldn't be part of HTTP send or some shit or write, whatever it's called. Because it just feels so wrong, you know? Anyway, is this everything? I think this is everything. Content type thing, whatever. Because you can still take let's call this raw maybe. Because you can still access this and do more shit to it, right? So what really is the point to like all the other shit? Anyway, yeah, this no longer works, but that's okay. So this should now work. HTTP status, okay. Oh, sorry. Internal server error. With status, and then of course we need a response, so we'll do empty object or something. JSON does not satisfy into body would be invalid. This is an L value, but function has R value ref qualifier. Really? I thought that what I did was right. Fuck. This, right? So ooh, yeah, it needs to be into body there. But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Does it matter that this is a const thing? Does that make a difference? I don't know, man. That seems kind of fucked. Why would that make a difference? Am I misunderstanding how this works? I feel like it doesn't want to show me the error. There it is. Is an L value. Member function into body is an L value. But function has member A into body would be invalid because the argument to the member function. Hold on. Hold on. So you're telling me that it would be invalid because this A would be an R value reference for this call, but that's the point though. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the point. Is that not right? Do I need to get rid of this? Is that what I need to do? I just don't get it. Yeah, that was the issue. But what if I do want this one to actually be like that? That's what I like about Rust, because you can have the self-consuming paradigm where it can be like into and it will simply consume the value. I know this doesn't exist. I'm fully aware this doesn't exist, but I want to somehow show that like that's why. You know, like that's what I'm doing here. Oh, wait. Is it because with status takes it in and then does stuff to it that doesn't make sense? Never moved inside the function. No, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. It's not really about that. It's about keeping the semantics obvious, but see, but like, it doesn't matter though. Does it matter? Maybe it matters. Maybe this is exactly the issue. But like, I don't understand how this could possibly fix it. Yeah, see, this no longer works. JSON. Okay, well, I'll try to figure this out, and I'll be back when I figure it out. Actually, I will ask an AI, and while doing that, I'm gonna have a little rant on it. So LLMs are a big deal, right? They're a huge like deal. Apparently, everyone wants everything to be AI. I haven't met a single person who likes it, but I mean, anyway. So what I have is an interesting setup where I have sandboxed Pi as my agent, and it will essentially just do shit for me. So let's use DeepSeek V4 Flash to see if we can figure out why it fails. So when I compile this with cmake build bin parallel, and you have to tell it that because otherwise it will fucking run some stupid command. It fails. I don't understand why I can't fake the Rust move into XYZ semantics in C++. I'm aware that what is it? That the move R value ref stuff is more of a semantic what do we call it? Cute little play thing, and not like in Rust a strict contract, but somehow this should still work to encode the fact that e.g. JSON can be turned into body without needing to be copied. Maybe plain text. It's a better example. Investigate and explain the issue. Don't fix anything. So this is how I use AIs, right? So I'm gonna put it on the highest reasoning, and let's just let it cook for a second. But yeah, basically this is how I use agents. I will give them a targeted task, and usually while explaining the task, I already you know, figure it out. But oh, see, fuck off! It's got a CMake cache mismatch. Okay, let's run outside the sandbox for this one. And let's go back up and ask it the same shit again. What? What? No, this was the previous. What the fuck is this? When I compile this, yeah, this is the correct one. Yes, continue. Yes. Sorry, I'm struggling. So the issue is that CMake specifically struggles with this. When you build inside a sandbox, it will fuck up all the absolute paths that it somehow decided to use. And yeah, my sandbox rewrites the current working directory path to /w/ whatever. Yeah, it's a cute tool. I can recommend it. It's on my GitHub. It's called SBH. It's just a wrapper script around the bubble wrap, but yeah, the classic gotcha, dude. I fucking hate AI, dude. It's so bad. But this is the type of issue where I would rather ask like an agent that I have on my machine before I'm trying to fucking Google search this, because Google searching this on today's internet is a miserable time. Like 4 years ago would have been perfectly fine. I would have found my answer within a couple minutes. But I guarantee you that this is not gonna work. Like, concept require our value reference fails to compile with our value reference versus our value reference, or something like that. Like, it's just impossible to explain this. Because this is not about concepts. This is my problem, right? The word concept seems to just be ignored by search engines as well. They just do not give a fuck that I'm asking about a concept here. Oh my god, it's yapping. Fuck me. The concept is unsatisfiable. Oh, yeah, of course. Fuck, man. See, this is why I use this shit, because it, like, what? Yes, of course. Okay, let me see. I'll explain. So the issue is that this is not a satisfiable concept, because I'm saying that A is T ref ref, but it's named, and so this isn't gonna work. So the way to make this concept is that I want it to be called like this, right? And that's the code that I wrote as well. That's the code that I wrote here. This is what I want to do, and I forgot that I need to tell the concept that this is what I want to do. Otherwise, of course, it's not going to work. And I don't know if this fixes the issue, but this is definitely going to be a fix for this problem. And of course, it's still not going to compile, so I'm not even going to try, but I guess I did try. Okay. And this makes sense, because it by definition, it is named. And because it's named, it's not an R value reference, right? Like A is not an R value reference because it's named. So, but I want into body to only be callable on standard moved objects, aka on on temporaries, on R value references. And in case you're completely lost right now, let me explain. This is an R value, and this is an L value, because this is on the left and this is on the right of the equals. That's how you can remember it. And this doesn't have a name, so this is a int. Not really, but let's pretend, right? And so if I want the left side to be that, I can standard move it. Not that this would make any sense, but then now the left side is an R value reference. So that's what we're doing. We're basically turning it into an R value reference. And it is really interesting. If you ever try to implement standard move yourself, you see that it is this one. What? Oh, fuck off. Sometimes Vim just wants to fuck me. It's crazy. But yeah, all move does is it static casts to t ref ref. So it doesn't do anything. It doesn't move anything. Standard move doesn't move anything. Standard move just adds a double reference, which means R value reference, to the type name. So it's a little fucked that that is how it works, but it's very funny. Okay, let's do another vertical split. And let's go to the http.cpp again, where we were, I think. No, we weren't. We were in response. So now this works. It's just important that this works only on those, right? And I mean, in this case, this can simply be const. I don't care. This isn't making a difference at all. The point is that I can make it into an R-value reference, make use of this optimization that moves text out into this function and then out of it so that it never gets copied, right? That's the optimization we're trying to make here. And so that's why we want to be able to put R-value reference here, which means it can only be called on a temporary. So for example, into body, if I have like a JSON, right? What? JSON S. I cannot call S. Okay. Oh. Oh, yeah, it's because I define it later. I'm fucking stupid. Let me show you. Let me show you. So if I have a JSON object and I say s dot into body, this isn't going to work, right? Sorry, not JSON, plain text object. So I cannot do into body. It doesn't exist. But if I then move s, I can call into body. And in the same way that if I construct a plain text here, I can do it into body. And this lets me basically write code that is equivalent to a into whatever thing in Rust, which is what I'm trying to emulate here because I really like those semantics. Anyway, so response is how we do that. And then we also will have a OK, which is going to just launder our laziness a little bit. Okay is simply going to return response with status, standard forward, body T into body, HTTP status. Okay. Something like that. And it actually wants me to move. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what we do. But just to satisfy the linter, we'll do this. And we'll also do like a, I think OK is the only one that I care about. All the error codes you have to specify yourself. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah. This seems fine. This seems fine. This seems good. And the fact that you still have a response body, even if you have an error code, might seem weird if you're used to other languages, but I feel like this is a very, very good practice to still return a valid JSON. Like, it doesn't have to be valid, like in the term that like, at least return the right content type. You know what I mean? Like, don't return some other shit. Just return an empty JSON object or a different JSON object, an error JSON object. I don't care, but do not return me a fucking plain text on a JSON endpoint just because there's an error. That might not even be my problem. It might be internal server error, and suddenly you return me a plain text. It's like, what do you want from me? That is ridiculous. So do not do that, okay? That's what I'm trying to enforce as well. So, all right. So we need to set the version and we need to prepare payload is what we need to do on sort of this side. So we're going to have exchange. Exchange needs some love now because exchange doesn't work anymore. So we can have void respond template type name T. So it's going to be response T response, and this is going to be The same thing. To body. Oh yeah, we don't need to worry about this. We just get response. I'm stupid. We just get response. Yeah, we just get a response with the thing, and we don't really need to worry about what it is. So this is again going to take a response, t response. We do not need the context anymore, I don't think, because the version will be, well, actually, no, we do still need that for the version. Response, then move response, and then it's going to request a version. Sorry, detail. Response context. Request version. And of course, this has to be defined down there again. I can probably put this in a variable so it's not so ugly. And I feel like response needs to raw prepare payload. So we set the version. We don't need the context because we can set the version. That's the whole point. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do here. Raw set. Can I not do that? Oh my fucking lord. Oh, yeah, no, I can. Request version. Set version, prepare payload, respond by standard moving it up away or in, I guess. And it's going to simply be response.raw. Because this doesn't have any other members. So, okay, now we're cooking. And this shouldn't have changed much on the original function, the original file here, right? So main CPP should now have this stuff in it. And of course, exchange.ok no longer exists. Respond. And now we don't need to call exchange, we can call request. We can call this HTTP request. And we can call this one read request. And of course, this is not going to work because of course I need to rename all of these. So it's a little bit of a pain, but it's fine. And this needs to be read request. It is. Okay, all of the renames actually went through. That's incredible. Doesn't usually do this. And so now we should get internal server error with an empty JSON object. Maybe we can do like some internal error, because like that's the whole point of this interface, the fact that we can do this. And we'll build it and it should work. So now when we do this, we'll get an internal server error. So I'll do -v so we can see the HTTP response. And so we see nothing. We see a crash though. It doesn't like the version that I've set. because it needs to be bigger than 0. Well, that's what I was trying to find out, but it didn't want to tell me. Response. God, this is slow. Okay. And oh, whoops. Okay. Am I still recording, or did I run out of space? Still recording. Okay, error, some internal server error. You can see it here. And the content type is application JSON. The error code is 500 internal server error. And if I don't run it with -v and I pass it into JQ, yeah, see, pretty JSON. So, wonderful. This is getting quite nice. I'm really happy with this because it lets you do all the things that I want to do. Because, okay, let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, let me show you what I mean by this. What you can do is let's put something here. X forwarded for your mother. So we should now get the same error, but we should also have an X forwarded for header inside. There it is. X forwarded for your mother. Haha. And not only is that very funny, wow. Sorry. It is also quite easy to do because you can just modify the response. So that was kind of the idea here, is that you can do stuff like that, and yeah. Let's commit all of this. So switch to response T. And I don't think this repo is public yet. HTTP CPP. I need to rename this still, but yeah, it's not public yet, but that is where it's going to live. No doubt this is quite useful. I'm quite happy with it so far. And the fact that this like register invite thing is garbage is kind of, you know, it's whatever. It's just how it is, you know what I mean? It's just how it is. I think it's time for us to move this into a library and clean it up a little bit. And I think that's what we should do next. What should we call it? Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I mean, basically, I'm happy to basically change all of this to yeah, let's just do that. Let's go into the CMake lists. And actually, I might make this a separate thing. Let me quickly Do, 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 do. HTTP, CVP. Just writing it here in case my suggestions leak things, then I have to fucking edit again, so we don't have to do that. Usually I have to edit that shit out, and I don't want to edit this video, so. Let's make it public first. Issues, projects, whatever, who cares? And then we'll make it public. Yes, I want to make it public. Yes, I do. Oh yeah, 1 sec. All right, I've made it. I have managed to enter my code. Okay, so it's now public. You should be able to find it. And we're gonna push to, and we've already pushed to that anyway. So it's not currently usable as it is as a library, but it depends on a couple of things. They're all vendored in. HTTP stuff is in here and here. CMake lists has all the shit you need. Just remove main, make this a link, make this a library, and you're good. I'll clean this up, but not today. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment and tell me that you did enjoy it, because it makes my day a lot better. Yeah, and have fun.